I am Nick Shell, the living legend of hair loss, one of the world's most popular hair loss YouTubers. I'm different than the rest because I don't sell this concept that this is a disease. I sell the concept that this is a cosmetic issue, hair loss. And for some, it causes a psychological effect for those who allow it to, who choose not to overcome it. There are always going to be those guys that go aggressively bald young and they choose to overcome it and not be defined by hair loss, but instead reinvent themselves. But then there will always be those who are consumed by it, and they will spend the rest of their life spending time, energy, and money to stop what's already inevitable. And that's why I want to remind everyone who's new here of one of my fundamental catchphrases for this channel, because I know we're growing so quickly that if I don't say this every so often, we're going to forget that this is very important to the identity of this channel. Here it is. Anything you believe about hair loss is true. ... in your mind. Let me say that again and let's process that. Anything you believe about hair loss is true in your mind. That's the way things work. That's how our perspectives on reality work. We have a certain version of reality that we think is real. We confirm that when we hear other people say the thing that we think is what we believe. When we hear other people say the opposite, it still confirms what we believe because we believe that they're wrong. But as long as you allow yourself to be defined by hair loss and you think that you're ugly and less attractive and worth less and that your life is never going to amount to anything, that no one will ever marry you, that you can never run for president, that you can never be promoted at work, that you can never be because of hair loss. If you believe that, it absolutely will be true. Because anything you believe about hair loss is true in your mind. But for those of us who choose not to be defined by our hair loss and realize that that's a toxic mindset to be limiting ourselves based on hair loss, which is amazingly common and normal. So a guy like me, what do I believe about hair loss? I believe if we could choose not to go bald, we would. But it's not our choice. It's in our DNA. And it's how we react to it. It's how we choose to deal with it. And I think for 2019, one of the things that's really being reinforced in my mind, it used to be that you'd think, well, the guys that have it worst are the guys who are in their late teens, early 20s that are, aggressively balding. Norwood 3, 4, 5, way too soon. And I used to have a lot of compassion and feel bad for those guys. But what I'm learning is most of those guys aren't really even watching my channel anymore. They're buzzing off their hair, they're working out, they're reinventing themselves, and they're moving on with their lives. I'm not even worried about those guys anymore. The people I think who really need my channel more than anyone are the guys that are young, early 20s especially, have a Norwood 2, and they're worrying, is this going to get worse? And that's where I come in, the living legend, Nick Shell. I come in now to help you navigate that. What a horrible, pathetic life you would live if at age 20, you're worrying if I can just make it to 30, if I can just make it to 40, if I can just make it to 50, if I can just make it to my 20th class reunion with as much hair as Nick is going to have this coming July, then I'd be okay. Would you though? What about age 40? What about age 50? Does it ever end? Imagine being able to free yourself from that. Imagine being able to think in your mind, truth about hair loss is that other people don't care about the hair loss. You make it this perceived problem. But see, that's the thing about this channel, is that there will always be people who say that sky is falling because their hair is falling out. And then there will always be those who say, yeah, Nick's right. I'm really worrying too much about this. There's never been a better time to be bald. It's actually a very cool, masculine thing to do. And in theory, it might actually help me be more attractive, actually, and be more confident in myself and not depend on my looks for my identity and my self-worth, yeah, actually, that doesn't sound that bad after all. But see, that's what I believe about hair loss, and that's what's true in my mind. Anything you believe in your mind is true, no matter what. What I was saying a moment ago, identity protective cognition. That's when you hear someone says the opposite of what you believe, it only reinforces what you believe, in the same way that you want to surround yourself with people who are going to tell you what you already believe so that you feel better about yourself. But imagine realizing that you get to determine what is true in your mind. If you believe X or Y about hair loss, it will be true. You will be defined by hair loss, or you won't be, based on how you perceive reality. This is not a channel to help you prevent hair loss. It's a channel to help you prevent from losing your mind at the thought of losing your hair. Anything you believe about hair loss is true, in your mind. Comments belong right here.